Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, it's high time I had another bash at my Underwater World textile collage. It's been ages since I did anything on it. And my evening stitching has been totally devoted to working on the Bonkers Quilt just lately, because I really need to get that to a finished point, to a point where I can back it, bind it, tie it. But yeah, I did promise I'd come back and do the rest of the creatures from the templates that I haven't done yet. So let me take you to the desk and show you what I have done and what my next plans are. I've at least now got all the pages cut out already. Okay, so for anyone that hasn't seen it before, this is the first page. The book is going to, eventually the book will kind of fold up like this and have a wraparound cover. But it will open out like this. The pages are folded like this in such a way that they can be fastened here. This will be the spine, but they can be unfastened so that they can be viewed as one long frieze. So this is my first page, and this is the one I've done the most work on, but there's still lots more I want to do. Well, not so much to this page actually. This page is almost there. It's just a bit more little details I want to add. I'm gonna close in a little bit. It's difficult because if I close in too much, you don't see the whole thing. Let's just go that much. Yeah, that'll do. That'll work. So yeah, I've had lots of fun trying different techniques. It's been a great playground for trying lots of different ideas and using lots of little bits and pieces that I've been hoarding and lovely things that people have sent me. It's all very tactile. It's very lumpy. Now the whole thing was inspired by the lovely, I've got to come back up now. The whole thing, I should have said at the beginning, was inspired by the lovely Viviana Molinares. And I have got some more photos to show of her work later in the video that she's just sent me. Just so inspiring. Our pieces have turned out very this has turned out very different from Viviana's work, but you can kind of still see the inspiration. I think apart from anything else, I think mine's lumpier. But yeah, it's a different style. Now this little fishy here, this was actually made by Viviana. She sent me the fish and I've just stitched it on, and yeah, done a little bit more stitching around the outside of it, and yeah, he fits in very well. And then I made him a companion. This one I stuffed from the front like Viviana does. This one I stuffed Trapunto style from the back. You can see I've stitched it up. All of this won't show because the pages will be folded together like this. But I might still end up putting a backing on them, because they will sometimes come out to play like this, and then you will see the back. Or maybe I'll decide it's nice to see the workings at the back. You know, I love me a messy backside. So most of this, the sort of probably the bulk of the fabrics you see here have been done with Bazaar scrap packs, but there are lots of other bits and pieces as well, like I say, that people have sent me and that I've been hoarding away for years. Some of the bits and pieces I've used in this. So that was the first page. You can just see my octopus creeping over here. Go. Open that out so you can see him. So the template set, I will link to the template set in case you haven't seen it yet, and I'll link to the rest of the Underwater World playlist as well, so you can see how I made all of this if you're interested and you haven't watched it before. But I did templates for the octopus, the seahorse we'll see in a minute, and 3 other creatures that I haven't done yet, so I'm going to make a start on one of them this afternoon. Just so nice, such a nice way to use all these little trinkets and things. Try all these different things, like here, stump work. These are Suffolk puffs and drizzle stitch. Oh yeah, I've just had so much fun playing with this. Lots and lots more to do. So that first kind of side there, that's not far off done. This though, I've got a lot more stitching I want to do on this piece. More down the bottom here, where I've made all these holes in the rocks here, I want to have seaweed and things coming out of them, maybe little creatures, possibly some more twinkles and things. And I like how Viviana does sort of spirally, whirly, swirly lines in the background, so I might do that in some chain stitch, a bit like I've done there. So that's that page, and that leads into this page, which has got the seahorse. So the seahorse was one of the other templates. The octopus was the first one that I did. Then I did the seahorse and another form of stump work. I think it was just called stump work. Really enjoyed doing the seahorse, and I do love him. I'm very pleased with him and the octopus. The octopus I want to do a lot more encrusting with stitches and sequins like I've done there, and more of this kind of scaly stitch to blend everything out. So yeah, a lot more work to do on that yet. But I think what I want to do now is get to the point where I've got all of the creatures down and all of the background down, and it's just a question of adding lots of stitching and beading. And then it's easier, sort of more portable to take downstairs really. I want to do a lot more down here to fill this all in, just to fill in between. Lots more little things like these little padded pieces, little stuffed pieces. It's all very tactile. Lots more frondy bits coming out of the holes. Yeah, so quite a lot more work to do on that page. And then we turn over to another page. And this you can see I've really only started on. I've got the background laid down. I started doing a little seahorse. It's the male seahorse that carries the fertilised eggs around and then gives birth to the fry. I think they call them the fry, the tiny, hundreds of tiny babies. I've started adding some beads, like a little tiny chain stitch with a bead on the end to show the cloud. It's going to be, mostly they come out the front. They come out this little pouch in the front here, but I just sort of going to scatter a few around. There's a few there, but mostly they'll come up here like that. But I tend to, if it's one with a lot, when it's repetitious like that, I will do a few, and then I'll work on another part, and then I'll come back and add some more of these later. Stitch around them. So this is one of the things that I used as one piece of lace that somebody sent me. Was it Susanna sent me that? Suzanne, rather. Coloured it with Inktense. Used a big piece of it there. And then cut some small pieces of it here and added stitching to make these little, whatever they are, creatures, shapes. And then there's some more here. And I think I've still got another piece to carry on into the next page to try and sort of flow, you know. So you might have noticed that it starts off quite sort of aqua colours and light colours, light and bright here. And it's going a bit deeper blue here. And carrying on, and now we're going towards the purple. So now all I've done here is just lay out the fabrics. And we've gone to quite dark purples here, and then I'm going to go really dark for this bit, and the final page is going to be dark. It's going to have red in. It's going to be, the water's going to be muddied. I'm going to introduce symbols of pollution and global warming, and the last page is going to be quite dark in appearance and dark in the message, with a coral reef that's, you know, these. You might have seen these images, very disturbing images of a coral reef that's died, so they've all gone white like bones, bleached bones, you know. And I also want to show some of the plastic pollution as well. I've got some interesting fabrics to use to try and give an impression of like supermarket carrier bags. And that brings me quite neatly to the creature I'm going to be working on today. So let's put these. That page can go out the way. This is the page I'm going to be working on. That's the next page, and then I've got this one last page that I haven't even put any background on yet. I've got some lovely kind of purples and deep inky blacks and reds, sheers and sparkly things, all sorts to add to those last two dark pages. On this piece, I'm going to start working on my next creature. Usually what I do is cover the background with straight stitching first before I add the creatures, but I've kind of I've still got this bit to do. I might have to I might have to stop and stitch a bit of that where my creature's going to go, and then come back to you. We'll see how it goes. So here are the creatures that I haven't done yet. This is the turtle I'm going to be working on today. I've decided to do the turtle next. So with all of the patterns, we've tried to make it so that it was flexible. You could do it in different sizes depending on what you want to do. With this one, this is the turtle. This is the A4 version. So if you've gone in and bought the Underwater World collection of templates, or you've got it free because you were a channel member, any subsequent ones which have been added, later ones, I think the turtle's the latest one I've done, you will get those automatically. You don't need to buy it again. You'll automatically get that update if you bought it. So even if you were a channel member a couple of months ago and you aren't anymore, you should still get that update because you've already got the collection. So with all of them, you'll see, or with most of the templates that we did, you'll see that there's an A4 version and an A3 version. Anybody watching from America, A4 is a standard, I think, pretty much everywhere else. The nearest for you guys is letter paper. So it's whatever you've got in your standard kind of home printer. And if you printed it out on letter paper, it would be a negligible difference, really. But what we've tried to do is make it so that you can print it bigger if you want to, either by printing it in two pieces on on two A4 sheets and sticking them together. I'll show you that in a minute. Or we also provided an A3 template with most of the creatures. We did an A4 template and an A3 template. I don't think we did it with this. Don't think we bothered with the starfish. So A3 is twice A4. So A3 would be that size. And if you went to a commercial printer, they would have A3 paper, and you could just get it printed in one big piece. However, if you want to be able to just print at home, and most of us don't have a huge, great A3 printer at home, this is what we've done. Let me show you. So this is another one of the creatures I haven't done yet. This is the lobster. There he is, just on A3. And of course, you don't have to use these just for stitching. You could use them as colouring sheets. You could use them to do arty collages with. Do whatever you like with them. So if you wanted to do a lobster, but you wanted him twice the size, and you don't have an A3 printer handy, you can print it. This is in the, although this says A3 on there, this is in the A4 file. You'll get all of these, you'll get all of the options included when you buy the template collection. So if you go into the A4 file and then pick the A3 version option, this is what you get. You print it over two sheets, and then you can, I would just trim off one of them, and then you can line them up so that they match up perfectly. I can see I'm doing it because I can see through the paper. You probably won't see it on camera, and that way you've got it sort of nearly twice the size, and that's probably the size I'll work on when I do it, because I think otherwise the shapes are going to be a bit fiddly for me. The other one I'm really looking forward to having a go at, and this is a suggestion from Jean, one of my channel members. This is the Nautilus. And I had to look it up when Jean suggested it. I had a vague idea of what they were. They live deep, deep in the oceans, apparently. And I had a vague idea of what they were. Yeah, when you look up, if you put in the search term Nautilus and go on Google Images, oh wow, so inspiring. I'm so glad Jean suggested it. With the Nautilus, I haven't yet decided if I'll just do it this size, because that is going to nearly fill one sort of side of my page, or do I go really massive, which is very tempting, and do it this way, make a really huge one taking up almost the whole of one of the pages. I'm very tempted. There's such a lot of different textures in them as well. If you look up photographic references of them, yeah, such a lot of different textures and patterns and colours you can play with. It's a very colourful place, the ocean. You need to look after it better. So that's Nautilus, which will be coming later. This is Lobster. And here is Turtle. So with Turtle, we've done it slightly differently. I'm gonna start on this one today, I think, and just have him sort of placed like that on this page, as if he's a little bit in the distance. He's a little bit smaller, and then I think on the next page I'm going to do this version. And we did this one so that you can do all the pieces separately, and then you can change the angle of the the legs and the head and things to sort of just to change it up a bit. So I think I'm going to do that on the next page. And the reason I said just now that brings me neatly to turtles is that I want to bring in, this is where I'm going to start bringing in the idea of plastic pollution in our oceans. So turtles, one of the things that some turtles eat is jellyfish. I want to do some beautiful jellyfish. I have some lovely fabrics, ones that I've hoarded and ones that people have sent me. Lovely kind of sheer fabrics and sparkly bits and things, and lovely fibres that I can use to make some jellyfish. So I'm going to be doing those. Yes, turtles are one of the few predators of jellyfish, because apparently they seem to be immune to their poison. And sadly, one of the things that happens is that where you get empty plastic bags floating in the oceans, especially if they've been in the ocean for a while, to a turtle reads that as a jellyfish and ingests the carrier bag. Apparently the smell of it, especially once it's been in the ocean for a while, is going to be very similar. The look of it, the way they perceive it, they see it as a jellyfish and eat it. And of course that is not good for the turtle. And I have seen some very disturbing photos of things they found inside turtles, and yeah, very, very sad. And also you see pictures of like a turtle with that must have got caught up in, you know, those plastic things that hold 4 cans together. You know, I never throw one of those away. Well, I rarely have them because I don't have those kind of drinks, but I wouldn't throw them away or recycle them even without cutting them up first. Because if they end up in the water like that, creatures get inside them when they're small, and then the turtle carries on growing. And I've seen pictures of turtles deformed with a plastic ring around them. So I might do something with that as well later. But at the moment, I'm focusing on this carrier bags idea. I've got this picture of carrier bags. So on this page, I'll have some beautiful starfish. On the next page, I'll have some carrier bags that appear to be starfish, and that's where the larger turtle will go. But today I'm going to focus on this and do this turtle just as we've got in there. I've got some different cotton fabrics that I'm going to use, and I think this time I'm going to use, I've done some of these things I've done with iron-on interfacing, and some things I've done with heat and bond light, which will iron on both sides of it are iron on. I think I might try that for this one. I'm going to dig out the I'm going to use a different little cotton prints for each section of the shell, because I think that would just look cute. So I'm going to have a dig now, decide what product I'm going to use. Okay, I'm just going to sort myself out and then I'll be back. Right, I'm all sorted. I've decided which fabrics I'm using, what I'm going to use to back them, how I'm going to apply them to the background. So I want to give some dimension to the shell and possibly a little bit to the feet as well. So the feet, they're not feet, the flippers, whatever you want to call flippers, head, little tail, I'm going to just use a soft, lightweight interfacing on. Yeah, just to stop them fraying and make them a little bit more manageable while I'm applying them to the background. With the shell, I'm going to use this for the, let me show you which ones I've picked out. So I'm going to use a combination of this fabric and this one. I'm going to use this for the background of the shell with some lightweight interfacing applied to it. And then for the flippers and head, I'm going to use this one. I think I've got enough to get everything out. If not, I'll use a bit more of that. And I think I ended up picking this out for the background of the shell as well, which I didn't need. For these little panels, I want to use lots of different prints. So I've got some of these here. I use just a mixture, different one in each perhaps. And for those, I'm going to use the double-sided heat and bond light, this is called, so you can stitch through it. That's how I've decided I'm going to go. And once I've applied the shell to the background, I can pad it out from behind trapunto style. That's the plan. So So we'll see. I mean, you definitely could do this without any kind of, you know, you don't have to use any kind of interfacing, whatever. I just find it makes it easier to manage. So my first step, I think, needs to be the shell. I'm going to get the shell, the background of the shell done. And that was going to be in just this plain grey. So I'm going to use a Sharpie pen, not a heat erasable pen here, because I'm going to iron this on so it would all disappear. Ask me how I know. And I'm just going to draw around this. Pencil would do whatever. I'm using a Sharpie, but yeah, it could be anything here. You're not going to see it, so you're not going to see it in the finished thing. So that's the shape of my shell. And now I'm going to apply this to the wrong side of my shell fabric. So I need to make sure the textury side, that's the gluey side, I need to make sure that's down to the fabric, not upwards, or I will ruin my biro. My iron. I'm not going to plonk it straight in the middle there, because I might find I need some of this bit to help with heads and flippers. So let's just do this as economically as possible. No steam, just a hot iron. Whoops. That was daft, wasn't it? I cut this to match, to be slightly smaller than the size of the fabric. So that wouldn't happen. And then moved it all over to be more economical. So that is now the base of my turtle shell. This won't make the edges totally fray proof, but it will keep them under control enough for me to get this applied to the background, and then I can do blanket stitch or whatever I want around the edges. Or I could even decide I want to do a bit of needle turn applique. But yeah, that's all I need to do for a minute. That's that bit. The next thing is I want to do the flippers and things. And I'm going to mostly use this. So I don't want to iron this on yet. I want to trace off the shapes first. I don't think there needs to be a particular direction for this, but obviously if there was, I'd need to bear that in mind about now. So let's be as economical as possible again. The other thing I could consider doing is drawing this out and cutting round with an extra seam allowance and turning that under. That would also be a possibility I might toy with. I think with all these kind of templates like this, so they're just, you know, you can adapt them to use them however you like. I'm not going to stop it just there. I'm going to take it in here so that they will overlap a bit, so you won't see a join or anything. So that's that one. Let's do the head there. Again, I'm going to take it inside the shell a bit so that can overlap. And we won't get any gappage. There may be a neater, tidier method of doing this than I'm showing here, but as I say, whatever works for you. You can use the templates however you like. So that's the two front flippers. Then we've got the smaller back flippers. I'm reading some interesting facts about turtles while I was researching for this. Yeah, one thing I didn't know is that apparently because you know, turtles are able to dive. Some will dive hundreds of meters deep, 1,000 meters under the sea, but they can't survive indefinitely under the sea. So they can, you know, if they get trapped in fishing nets or whatever, they can drown, and their eggs won't survive under the sea. They have to lay their eggs in nests that they dig with their flippers, and then you see the pictures of the, you know, film of the baby turtles running down to the beach before they get eaten, don't you? Poor little things. It's like a miracle that they survive at all. But what I had never seen before is that apparently the sex of the turtles is decided by the temperature of the sand that the eggs are incubated in. So if it's warmer, it needs to be colder temperatures for male turtles. If it's warmer, you'll get more female turtles. And apparently there's a shortage of male turtles in Florida. I've not read that. Well, I guess, again, that's another kind of global warming issue, I suppose. Place this now so that I don't iron it onto my ironing mat this time. This lightweight interfacing is so useful and so cheap. It's really, really cheap. The heat and bond stuff isn't so cheap. If you do buy that and you want to stitch through it, make sure you get the heat and bond light sewable. Because with this, it's only adhesive on one side, so it's now the heat is activating the glue on one side and it's sticking it to the fabric. But there isn't another sticky. This won't now stick to the background, whereas with this, it's sticky both sides. But although it is sewable and it's light, it's got more stiffness to it than this has. I was just thinking, what was I talking about? Yeah, interesting facts about turtles. Yeah, sadly, one of their biggest threats is well, it all comes down to human activity one way or another, whether it's global warming or trash in the ocean that they perceive as food and eat or get tangled up in. Or yeah, getting caught in nets and drowning. Beaches being developed or being too busy so that it affects where they can nest. It's interesting to read that there was, in 2020, during lockdown, when there was less human activity, there was a record number of baby turtles. That just goes to show, doesn't it? Shameful, really. We've got a lot to answer for. I always get a bit cross when I hear people talking about things like pigeons and seagulls being a nuisance and vermin, and I think, crikey, I think you could say that humans are the biggest kind of most successful vermin on the planet. Controversial. Turtles very much affected by human activity. Another interesting thing is that they can, some of them will migrate thousands of miles, 10,000 miles even, during their lifetime, which is pretty incredible for such a tiny creature. So they'll migrate to nesting sites or, yeah, just... I was quite surprised at how deep they can dive. That did surprise me. And I didn't know before starting this project, I didn't know that they ate jellyfish. I thought, because jellyfish was so poisonous, I didn't think anything could eat them, but there you go. And without turtles, we probably would have an overpopulation of jellyfish and other creatures that they prey on. You know, it's all such a delicate balance, isn't it? Yeah, I was just thinking if I wanted to turn this over, I could just cut outside the line. And turn it under. Oh yeah. Anyway, too late now. I haven't done the rest like that, so let's carry on this way. Okay, just got the little tail now. These little bits, they might be handy for rocks and things later on, especially because I've already got that backing on. Essentially, there's my turtle head. The front flippers, which I can adjust however I like, or just, you know, look at the diagram if I need it. Found with doing the trapunto type stuffing, when it's little finicky shapes like this, certainly with these, it's easier to thread some fat. I've got fat yarn ends that I keep. That you can just thread through from the back to stuff out these skinny shapes. It's quite handy. Quite a nice way to use it up. Okay, that's my basis done. I'm going to use the heat and bond, and I'm going to use make all these little shapes. So carefully-ish, draw around these shapes. I will cut them out individually and apply them to different patterned fabrics. And again, just use a dry, no steam, just a dry hot iron. I'll draw around the rest of these and cut them out. I could number them, So it's not going to show. Yeah, okay, let's do that for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could make these slightly bigger or slightly wonky them if I wanted, whatever. Do whatever you like with them. Okay, that's all I need. And now I'm going to use paper scissors to cut these out, and then hot dry iron to apply each one to the to different print fabrics. So actually, let's just cut around it roughly. So say I want my first one to be this fabric. Let's go for this one. Put it on the wrong side of the fabric. Pop it down there. Press a hot iron onto it. You can see that seems to have bonded nicely. Oh, there's a bit of a gap there. Yep, that seems to be stuck nicely now. So now I can cut more precisely around the shape. Cut through the fabric at the same time. This does mean I'm using my scissors on paper, but you see where you then peel it off, you can see what almost looks like a plasticky coating. That's the side you put down to the background, iron again, and that adheres it to the background. So I'm going to leave it on there for now with the number, so that I know where I'm going to place things. And I'm going to cut the rest of these out, and then I'll be back. I've cut all of these out now, and I'm ready to apply them to this piece. I suddenly realised I forgot to show the starfish. There's another one of the templates. So the starfish template was designed to be able to show the underside, because when you look at photographic references of starfish, the undersides, basically this is their bum hole. And these are their feet, which are so strong they can open the shells, they can open mussel shells and things with these feet, and they propel them along as well. Fascinating. Tom and I were so fascinated by the undersides of them that we made the pattern that way. So the starfish pattern and the template for all the different shapes, there's a whole sheet of different shapes and sizes of fish. Those are free templates on my Gumroad. I'll put links to all this in the description box. And the Underwater World collection, I think it's called. There is a small charge for that. It's free to channel members, but yeah, any new ones that are added to it, that have been added to it since you downloaded it, you will get automatically. So anyway, here are my pieces ready to put on here. So let's turn them over and see how they're looking. And I think what I'll do is apply these to the background and then do some stitching on this piece before it then gets applied to the background. And they don't have to be perfectly placed anyway. This is nature, you know. Like Viviana said to me, you can't kind of make something up. You can't make it too fantastical. Nature will always have come up with something even more fantastic. I put that the wrong way around. Right, sort myself out. I ended up having to turn this over and look at it from the other side. If you hold it up to the light, you can see really easily to place the shapes. Oh dear. So now I can apply these to that background, and then I can do a bit of decorative stitching around them. So to do that, all I've got to do is peel the backing off like this to reveal that sort of plasticky looking coating. Just going to snip those little fringy bits off, and then I'll place that down and put hot iron on it. It's actually meant to be 2 seconds to do the initial applying of the heat and bond to the fabric. I've just read the instructions again, and 6 seconds for this bit. And that seems to be well bonded all round. So even if I did no stitching at all, those edges now I wouldn't fray. But I will be doing stitching. I'm looking forward to doing the stitching for that part. So I'm going to apply all the other pieces like that, and then I'll be back to do a little bit of stitching. Right, here we go. Here's my turtle kind of laid out. And now I need to add some stitching. I've got stranded embroidery thread here. I think I'm going to use 3 strands rather than 2. I think it's about equivalent of using a number 8 perlé. The flippers have come out quite kind of narrow at the moment. You could definitely make them wider. Some of them have even got quite kind of flat, kind of paddle shaped ends. They vary quite a bit. But I'm going to leave them like this, and I will add more width to them when I stitch them onto the background. That will add width to them as well. And then I'll probably just stuff them a little bit from behind trapunto style. Same with the head. But at the moment, the main job is to get the decorative stitching done on this shell before I put that down. I could do a blanket stitch, or just a chain stitch. I'm not sure. Let's try a blanket stitch, see what it looks like. I'm using this variegated green to blue thread. I've not got a massive amount of it, but it should be enough to do this. And as long as you make sure you get the light version of this heat and bond, it's pretty easy to stitch through. Now I think I'll probably go around and blanket stitch all these pieces on, and I might even still do a chain stitch along all of the sort of spaces between. Or around each of the pieces. I'll see how it looks when I've done the blanket stitch. I always get bigger and bigger with blanket stitch. Just hearing my iron clicking reminds me that I need to turn that off a minute. Yeah, so I'm going to go around and add this to all of the pieces, and then we'll see how we're looking. And I'll think about doing a chain stitch in between as well, for a bit of extra texture and detail and depth to it. And then it will be time to stick it onto the background. That piece is coming off because it didn't back on properly like the others did. All the others are perfectly bonded, and this just kept coming off, so I used a bit of Pritt stick on it. I'm not sure what I did there. Normally, once you've got this stuff applied, that's it. It's not going anywhere. So you sometimes get that effect with turtle shells and tortoise shells, where each of these little sections is slightly raised as well. Which you definitely could do. You could do that by putting a little bit of wadding behind each of these, or even you could use fusible wadding if you happen to have it. But I'm not going to worry about that on this occasion. But I might do that when I come to do the bigger size turtle on the next page. I might do that. I quite like the idea of on the bigger one adding some kind of spiral stitching to each of these pieces as well. So yeah, that'll give me a bit more scope, but this one's a bit small space to do that. Okay, back in a mo. Here we go, I've finished blanket stitching around all of them, and I think I will do a chain stitch now. I've pretty much used up, I've only got this last little bit of that variegated thread, and it's all the dark one. So now I'm going to go on to this colour, and I'm going to use this to do a chain stitch around each of these little pieces, and that will leave a smaller sort of grey gap between them than I've got at the moment. On the bigger turtle, I might add some beading and things as well for a bit of extra texture. And some interesting fact. I'm full of interesting facts about these creatures. Things I didn't know before I started this project, or only half knew. But yeah, I was astonished at how long they live, like 50 years, some of them, these turtles. So you can see that with this iron-on interfacing on, it's not stopping that fraying at the edge altogether, but this fabric would be fraying really badly if I was doing this with it and there wasn't anything on the back. So yeah, definitely worth doing that to just make it all a bit more easy to control. I might, I think on the larger one I'll perhaps do different stitches inside each of the sections as well. Seed stitches on one, spiral stitches on another, even I could even do little lazy daisies in some of them. My favourite kind of quiet, repetitive hand stitching now to finish this off. And then it will be time to apply it to my background. And when I come to do that, I could choose to turn the edges under, or do a blanket stitch again, or just a whip stitch. I'll see how I feel when it gets to that point. So I'm going to carry on chain stitching around each of these shapes. It may be that in some bits like here there won't be a lot of grey left between, but that's fine. Well, I've just realised I've been sitting here talking to myself for 10 minutes. Oh no. Oh dear, I'll just try and remember everything I said now. So I finished stitching all these pieces on. I've chain stitched around most of the sections. A couple of them I just whipped the kind of cross piece of the blanket stitch because there wasn't quite room to fit in a chain stitch, but I quite like that little bit of difference on a couple of them, that one and that one. And I've decided my turtle's going to go there. I nearly put him up here, which looked quite nice balance-wise, but then I realised I want it to look as if the turtle is hunting the jellyfish. So I'm going to put the jellyfish up here, because these kind of look like they could be sort of jellyfish more in the distance. So there'll be a bigger jellyfish here that the turtle is going for. So he's going to be placed there. So what I did was, like I've just been doing on camera, I put all these pieces down where I want them to be, use my glue stick to just tack them down temporarily, and then I've just done a little overstitch to hold this piece down, and then I'll go around with a chain stitch the same way that I did there, but I'm just using 2 strands instead of 3 strands now. And then I might just very lightly stuff these, the head and the legs, just very lightly, trapunto style from the back, or I might decide not to stuff them at all. I haven't quite decided yet. And then I'll put the shell over the top. I'll use a blanket stitch to attach that. I'll just put a couple of pins and use a blanket stitch. So I think a blanket stitch will help to kind of indicate, just give an impression of that, you know, where the kind of outer ring of their shells has the little sections, if you look at photos of sea turtles. So that's probably what I'll do. I've lost my needle. There it is. So yeah, I've just got these temporarily held down with glue for a minute. So while I was stitching that down, I was wittering away to myself, as it turned out, telling you how I've just been messaging with Tom, and he's had I've just unthreaded my needle. He's had a very exciting idea about our Bonkers Quilt. He's hopefully going to be able to create a website for us. It's very handy to have a son who's a web developer. Where we can share pictures of the quilt, progress on the quilt. We can have a photo of the whole of the quilt that you can hover over, and it will highlight the individual pieces. And when you hover over those pieces, it will come up with the name of the person who made them and perhaps where they were from. Not we're not going to be giving people's addresses, but just which country they came from. We could include a link to the video where I opened the piece that they sent in. or if they're YouTubers themselves, it could be a link to their channel. I think that'd be really lovely. It'll be a lovely way to remember the quilt when it's gone, because it's going to be quite hard for me to let go of. And so the idea is that that Bonkers Quilt will be auctioned later in the year, just before Christmas probably. All of the proceeds will go to the charity we decide on. And this video you're watching now will go out on Monday the 30th of March. The voting form is already there now. It's been there for a few days as I'm recording this. I'm going to keep it going to the end of this week, beginning Monday the 30th of March. And then I'm going to stop the vote and call it done. So don't waste any time. Pop over there now. There will be a link in the description box. You don't need to sign in or anything. It's just a Google form. You'll see there when you click on the link, it will take you straight to the form. You'll see a list of the 16 charities. It's a short list from the ones that were nominated a while back. All you have to do is click on the box next to the one you want to vote for. It's that simple, and then just click submit. You're done. That's it. You don't have to give your name, nothing like that. And that will just help us to decide, because I think it's something we need to have it's not something one person can decide. We did only go for charities that operate internationally because we felt that was important. Because over 100 people from all around the world have sent in pieces, and then a few people sent extra little pieces as the kind of the fillers, as I call them, as well, which is really helpful. So hopefully we'll raise a lot of money for whichever charity we decide on. I mean, a lot of work, apart from all the work of all the people that sent pieces in. I've just by myself, I will have spent literally hundreds of hours, I imagine, by the end. I haven't kept track, but yeah, it's been a real labour of love. So yeah, I hope to see it raise lots of money for the chosen charity. And once we know which the charity is, I can start working on getting some promotion to really make the most of it. And I want to find a way to show it in a couple of places around the UK, so that people can come and see it in person if they like before it goes. I shall certainly be taking it to the Arty, Farty, Crafty Day at Stitch Kit HQ, which is in September. That's in Worcester, here in the UK. Very much looking forward to that. I'll put a link to that as well, in case you fancy joining us. I'm assuming there's still some tickets left. There were only 40 in-person places, but you can have the boxes delivered and join in from home as well, if you want to, or if there aren't any in-person places left. But yeah, I shall certainly take it with me for that, and I'll take it to the bazaar event. Now, there's not going to be the summer event at the Sussex Prairie Gardens, but a little bird has told me that they have found another venue, but they've not announced it yet, so I'm dying to see where that's going to be. But what I might do is go to the summer event, the Christmas fair that they do this time, because that would be indoors as well, so it might be a good place, a better idea for taking the quilt, because I know they will. I know that Joe and all of the team at Bazaar will want to see the quilt in person as well, because that's where it started. That's what prompted the whole idea of the quilt, because we were having our amazing stitchy corner that Joe set up for us at the summer event last year. She put this little, very, very beautiful little round tent up for us. More of a marquee than a tent. With all these tables and piles of scrap fabrics for us to play with, and yeah, she set it up so beautifully. We had the most amazing time, a whole weekend of it. And I was just trying to think of something that we could do as a community rather than everybody work on separate pieces. And that's where the the Bonkers Quilt idea came from. So it definitely needs to go back there before it finally goes off to its new home, for sure. So those are two places where I will definitely be taking it, and there are a few other ideas to look into as well. But of course, I've got to be mindful that wherever it goes to be shown, I'm going to have to take it personally. I don't think I could just kind of pop it in the post or even send it with a courier, because apart from anything else, that would cost a lot of money that I don't have to spend. But it, you know, same goes if I have to take it anywhere in person, like to one of the quilt shows or something. You've got to take it there before. It has to be with them for a certain length of time, and then you have to collect it as well. So all of that, of course, is time and money as well. So I do need to be mindful of that. So yeah, it needs a lot of thought. But yeah, we'll definitely do our best to get plenty of promotion for it. I think Tom's website would be a huge help as well, because and just such a lovely kind of way to remember the whole thing, the experience of it, and the quilt itself. Yeah. So yes, I will put a link to the voting form and a link to the Stitch Kit Arty Crafty Day, so you can check them out. Very excited. I've already got a kind of sample kit, so I can start working on the videos to back up the Arty Farty Day. There'll be a lot of work going on behind the scenes beforehand. I know Kirsty's working on an exciting idea, which she just emailed me about this morning, for one of the 4 surprise craft kits that will go in the kind of pick and mix box. That you can get that as an optional extra. You can just do the Manx quilting main activity, or you can get this pick and mix box as well. So of course I will be doing video demos of all those as well. So I've got one of them here all ready to be going on with, and this other idea that Kirsty's just working on now, which I think is a brilliant idea. So yeah, lots to do. We want to make it the most perfect day, and Kirsty and Rachel are always very keen to make sure people get excellent value for money. Well, I think this whole day, I think no one's going to be disappointed or feel like they haven't got good value for money. Yeah, very excited about it. Hopefully it'll be something we'll do every year. I've never been to Worcester either. There's lots to see and do there. Kirsty's going to arrange a tour of the city the next day as well. That will all be free, and we're going to do an extra kind of craft and natter day back at Stitch Kit HQ the next day as well. Again, that will all be free. I just think that's so sweet of them. And she's offered to help with transporting people from, if they're staying in hotels overnight, transport them to the venue, or if they're coming into the train station. It's very, very, they're bending over backwards for us. And it all came out because we were talking about having a kind of community gathering somewhere. And Kirsty and Rachel said, well, we've got, we can accommodate up to 50 people in our community centre here. We can, you're welcome to use that. And that's where this idea came from. It can't be 50 people for that though. It's only 40 places, because obviously we also need some space for us, for Tom doing all the live streams. It takes a certain amount of space to do the demos and have your samples and all of that. Yeah, it's a lot to think about. Not something I've done anything like this before, but we'll go up the day before so that we can start get there early and start setting up, and be there early in the morning. Busy, a lot to do. It's going to be quite hard work to make it, but we want to make it the best experience for everybody. Okay, well, I'm going to carry on and stitch these pieces on. You can see I'm just doing a fairly rough overstitch there. I'll do a chain stitch all around it, just the same as I did around those. And then I will blanket stitch this on. And then I'll be doing the stuffing from the back. So I'll be back when I'm ready to start the stuffing process. I've had a couple of happy hours stitching. This is all stitched on now, and you can see at the back I've not kind of gone over it on the back with other stitching, so I can get to this to stuff it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do a little bit of stuffing in a minute. I've also carried on and finished all the straight stitching across my background to help to sort of hold everything together and blend it all. I'm going to stuff my turtle. I'm going to make a start on the finishing of these little creatures. They're going to be done like these. There's some kind of, I don't know, jellyfish type thing in the background. So I could do a little bit of that with you. And then I want to make a start on the jellyfish up here, the bigger jellyfish. So what I plan to do is layer some of these beautiful things that people have sent me. So there's this lovely Angelina fibre with lovely little colourful bits trapped inside. I've got this, I can't remember where this came from, but I love it because it goes kind of purpley pink and green depending on how it catches the light. I think I could just layer these up together to give that sort of that effect of jellyfish. When you see them, they look like you can see right through them, and you can see the different translucent layers of them. There's also this one. And this one as well, which I've used somewhere else actually in one of the other. I've just done little patches of it here with a kind of spirally stitch. Again, no idea what that creature's meant to be, but just a nice little detail in the background. What I'll do is cut a vaguely kind of blobby shape like that in these different layers. They won't perfectly overlap each other. Bits of them will be peeking out from underneath each other. Then I'll do a kind of a row of beads along the bottom and lots of fibres coming out, or it might be fibres, it might be rows of kind of couch down threads, or a mixture of all the above. So yeah, I'll just make a start on it now with you, and then I'll come back next time and show you how I'm getting on and do a bit more. So I think for these little creatures, I'm going to use some of this thread that I dyed myself with Inktense blocks, shades of green, blue and purple. So I think that picks up all of the colours on my page and will help to add a nice bit of detail to these, but take them into the background a little bit as well. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I thought I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'll use a Pistil stitch on these. I think we'll go 3 strands again. I do like that look of 3 strands. It has pretty much the same weight as a number 8 perlé. I just like that it's a bit bolder. Just had another little sneaky peek of the pick and mix kit that Kirsty's working on. Very exciting. It's going to be fun doing the demo videos, and then I'm just going to have to sit on secret until September. We might do some sneaky pics. So I made a Facebook group for the event for people. When you book or order boxes, if you're joining from home, you'll get an invite. If you are watching and you haven't had an invite or don't know how to join the Facebook group and you'd like to, let me know. Drop a comment or email me. There's a link tree in the description box for all my videos. You can always find my email there. So I'm going to do this Pistil stitch, like a long stitch with a French knot at the end. Some of them I'll go right into the centre, and some of them I'll just put them around the outside. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. Just make it look like some sort of random, I don't know, tendrils or something. And then I might do some French knots in the centre of them as well. As always, I'm looking a bit cack-handed because I'm doing this at arm's length for the camera, so such a lot of exciting stuff going on this year to look forward to again. We've had some difficult things going on in my personal life at the moment, so it's nice to have some positive things to look forward to, and you know, bit of doing something creative is always soothing. Thank you very much to everybody who's sent nice wishes, kind words, cards and things. I just, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I'm going to make some of these a little bit, sort of go into the centre and a little bit shorter. I'm trying to give the impression that these aren't flat things with these little tendrils coming out in a ring. I'm trying to make it look like they're sort of spherical. So let's just do this one just as a French knot. As I say, goodness knows what this is meant to be, but like Viviana said, there's nothing you can do that's kind of too fantastical, really. Nature will still have outdone you. Nature will always beat your imagination. Such almost unbelievable variety of life down there. So yeah, I will carry it. That doesn't look like much at the moment, but you can sort of see where I'm going with it. They're not all perfectly straight out like this. Some of them are a bit wibbly wobbly like that. I think that adds to the effect. I like that. It makes it look more lively. So let's do a bit of stuffing on the turtle. So to do that, I'm going to carefully, this is sort of my take on trapunto. I'm probably doing it wrong, but you know, I'm going to carefully just get a pinch of that backing fabric. I don't want to make sure I don't get that, and then I'm just going to snip a little hole. There we go, and that's probably enough. I could make it a little bit bigger, and through that little hole I can stuff the shell. Oh, I said I wasn't going to go. Oh, look, I've stitched across the. That was where I tacked on the background pieces. That's all right. That can come out now. Got some polyfill. I could use orts or something as well, but I've got this polyfill handy, so I'm going to use it. Just snip that little tacking stitch as well. And then I'll have a think about if I want to stuff the head as well. If I do, it won't be as much as the shell. Yeah, I feel like it probably needs a little bit. You can't really see the dimension there. If I hold it like that, you can. Yeah, I think a little bit in the head would be nice. Just using my hemostats to stop the get the stuffing into the space. So I've stuffed the head just a little bit. You won't be able to see it too much on camera, but yeah, you won't. Yeah, but it's just giving it a little bit of body. I think that's enough. I'll probably get a bit more elaborate with the bigger one that's going to be over on this facing page. But yeah, I think that's enough for that one. I might do a little suggestion of eyes at either side of his head with some beads a bit later. I've got a lot more of that to do, and now I thought the last thing I'll just do with you is to start cutting out my jellyfish. So a layer of this behind, so this will just be a subtle twinkle in behind. I'm wondering about having one layer of that behind, then this, then some of this beautiful Angelina fibre stuff with the colours in. And then you get that look of all the different layers that you get on a jellyfish. So if you look here, look at the huge variety. They do have, some of them have kind of extra sections. I mean, really, there is such such enormous variety. I like that. What I'm going for is this kind of where you've got different transparent layers. You can see one inside the other, and they're not all the same size as each other. They're, you know, that's kind of what I'm going for with this. Look at this one. Fascinating creatures. Absolutely fascinating. Look at this. You don't usually see them that way up, do you? You know, normally when you see pictures of them, they're kind of what I think of as upright, but I guess they move in all directions to get about the place. And apparently they go quite deep as well. Look at these. Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Some of them, like these, look like they've got a light inside. Look at that new species of unusual jellyfish discovered 2.3 miles below the ocean's surface. Colossal. So I can have a lot of fun with all of these tendrils and things coming out. I don't know what the proper term for that is. Yeah. So essentially I got this. I can't go wrong here. So I've got that one smaller than that one. And then I can put this one. You got the subtle twinkle of those little sequins inside. Which, yeah, aren't quite so clear on camera, but they're much more apparent in real life. And I like that the layers are, they don't all, you know, this one is up this high, this one is only up to there. If that makes sense. I feel like I want to round the bottom of this one a little bit. So I'm probably going to lay those down like that. Stitch them on with a fine thread. I don't want it to be too obvious, but that will give me the chance to show some lines. I'll probably stitch them down in layers because I want there to be some fine lines that sort of outline the shape. And then once I'm happy with the body, that's a big jellyfish for that turtle to go for. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller when I actually stitch it down, and then I've got the fun of all the fibres and threads and lines of stitching coming out to show the. I loved the look of some of those wider ones that are kind of frilly at the edge. I'm just wondering if I could use a bit of this to do that. Yeah. So I will have a lot of fun playing around with that. I think that's going to have to be it for today because this video has probably already got way long. But I'm really happy with how it's gone, and I've had a lovely afternoon of stitching, which is always good. So I will come back next time and show you how I'm getting on with that. I'm really enjoying getting back into this project again. I'd kind of put it to one side a little bit of necessity for a little while. So yeah, it's lovely to be getting back into it. But this evening I will be working on the Bonkers Quilt again. Don't forget to go and vote for your for which charity you would like the proceeds to go to when it's auctioned later in the year. The link will be in the description box. And also check out the Arty Farty Crafty Day, which is happening in September. We'll be taking a quilt with me there, and it would be lovely to put a few more faces to names. So yeah. It's all very, I have got a lot to look forward to this year. It's been a bit of a difficult start to the year, but I've got a lot to look forward to, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with all of you. It makes it all the more exciting for me. So thank you especially to all of my lovely channel members who you will see floating up the screen. Oh, hello. As I witter away. And thank you to all of you, to every single person who watches the videos and takes the time to leave comments, and especially over the last couple of weeks for all of your lovely messages. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to stop now and get this edited, and I will see you again very soon. Bye. Did I say thanks for watching? Thanks for watching. I'm sure I did.